the night our eyes changed. Rooms where love was made and unmade in a flash of the night. Rooms where memories drowned in fumes of poison. Rooms where futures were planned and the imagination of children built castles in the sky. Rooms where both the extraordinary and the mundane were lived, become forever tortured graves of ash. Oh, you political class, so servile to corporate power.
This is a message to the government, and I hope this message breaks through. Regulate them before we regulate you. This is a message to the government, and I hope it gets through. Please arrest them before we arrest you. 14th of June, looked up and felt my heart spasm. We've been waiting 24 months for answers, and still we can't have them. From the sympathy of a nation to the most uncomfortable of issues, our dearly departed, please know we love you and we miss you. Hard and battered hearts haven't laughed in a good while, but Stormzy at the Brit Awards made the neighborhood smile. You must be out of your mind if you think we're satisfied with platitudes. Questions for RBKC, Celotex, and Sajid Javid too. This has to be a never again moment. Neoliberalism kills people. For innocence tarnished and beauty that was lost, regulations disregarded, it's the humans that's the cost. Hospitals, hotels and schools, how can we forget that? Up and down the country, there's people sleeping in death traps. We're calling for the companies and council held accountable, climbing up the mountain, though its height seems insurmountable. We're calling from the bottom of our lungs, truth, justice and peace for all of the lost ones. We will not betray the dead, because betrayal of them is a betrayal of the living.
On the 14th of June, 2017, the world watched in horror as flames tore through Grenfell Tower in West London. 72 people lost their lives. Families were destroyed. And yet, this was not an accident. This was the result of greed, negligence, and corruption. Companies chose cheap, flammable cladding to make the tower look better for wealthy neighbors, while the lives of poor, working class, and immigrant families inside were ignored.
Ashes on your graves, like a phoenix we will rise. The blood is on your hands, there'll be ashes on your grave, like a phoenix we will rise.
The people who died and lost their homes, this happened to them because they are poor. We are in one of the richest spaces, not just in London, but in the world. Repeated requests were ignored. There is nowhere that rich people live in a building without adequate fire safety. Everyone I spoke to who was out there couldn't hear alarms. There was no sprinkler system.
There was no alarms.
But what's so curious is that
alarms.
£8 million has been spent refurbishing
Yeah,
this.
because it was an eyesore for the rich people that live opposite.
There were
so they
no
put
alarms.
panels, pretty panels on the outside, so the rich people opposite wouldn't have to look at a horrendous block.
If I didn't have this fob, people wouldn't have been able to get out the back of the block. All people were doing was throwing things up and making noise and trying to shout and get people up. But frankly, I don't know, like it was, I don't even think we should have done it, to be honest, John, because what did we wake them for? You know, they just basically, they woke up and they were still trapped in that building and no one could get out.
So desperate were some that they jumped?
Some people jumped, yeah. I saw people jump. I know a lady who threw her kid out, but I didn't witness that myself. But I did see 2 people jump when I was at the back of the block, roughly an hour or so after it started.
This is shocking stuff. I mean, how are you now? I mean, that's a horrible thing to live through.
It's, you just get on with it at the time, really. I mean, all I did at the time was I tried to get people to make noise, then I went back inside, I knocked all of my neighbours' doors, I made as much noise as I could in there. I grabbed my neighbour and her 3.5-year-old kid upstairs, I came downstairs, I grabbed my dogs and I got the hell out.
From the left and from the right and from the above, it just spread so rapidly, and then you couldn't help but notice people frantically banging on the windows. And then at one point during those few minutes, a lady appeared at the window, gesturing, body language, from what she was saying, "I'm about to throw my baby, please catch the baby." And the baby, I think, was wrapped in some sort of bed sheet blanket, and she threw the baby as the baby came down. And this was about approximately from the 9th or 10th floor. A member of the public, a gentleman, ran forward and miraculously grabbed the baby. And like I said, above you, from the left, from the right, mostly kids, it was harrowing, torturing screams for help, young kids. And I could also, where the fire was now spreading, people were reaching out from the front window, trying to grasp a bit of fresh air, trying to breathe. They looked like they were struggling. And there were, at one point, one window, about 4 or 5 heads all squeezing their heads through. It was honestly like a horror movie unfolding in front of us.
This tragedy was not an accident in any meaningful sense. It was the product of a philosophy that says some lives have value and others do not. A product of a philosophy that says that people that live in social housing apparently should not even be able to sleep safely in their beds. A product of a philosophy of malign neglect. A product of a philosophy that suddenly has a magic money tree whenever it's time to bomb some country somewhere around the world, but does not have basic money for people living in social housing on their own doorsteps. It was a product of a philosophy that tries to cut every single corner available down here, but can find £18.5 million for the pavement outside Exhibition Road just up there. It was a product of a philosophy that in the days after all these people lost their lives, decided to demonize the people living here in the press rather than hold the people accountable, responsible. That's the kind of free press we have in this country. Now, all of us here know, because it was a product not only of a philosophy, but of action. People were warned, councils were written to, residents of the tower knew it was unsafe. People deliberately ignored those messages, and this tragedy was a result of that. We all know that people should be arrested. We all know that if this happened a mile in that direction, and it was the fault of a plumber or an electrician from around here, he would have been in prison on July the 18th, 2017.
72 people paid the price for profit put over people. To this day, survivors and bereaved families are still fighting for justice. Organizations like Justice for Grenfell, Grenfell United, and the Grenfell Foundation continue to demand accountability, safe housing, and lasting change so this crime can never be repeated. Please visit their websites, support their cause, and stand with them in the fight for truth and justice. Grenfell was not an accident. It was the result of negligence and corporate greed.
Ashes on your graves, like a phoenix we will rise.